friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm here today with a video for the Hedgehog Hollow subscription box, and I am using the June subscription box, which is all about fruit. So let me show you what came in this set. So this kit has just a fantastic value. Every time you get one of these kits, you get a really nice postcard, which you can display if you want to. The back has a message from Alexandra and the Prickle and a list of all the things that you should get in the box. So you get a 6x8 stamp set in this box, and it's all about fruit. And I love it because it's got an artsy feel. You get a 4x6 stamp set that has that's sort of a sentiment builder set. You can put those sentiments together to create fun sentiments. You get two stamp sets. This one is a 6x6 layering stencil, and it's like, I'm not sure what it's called, but I'm calling it fruit salad because it's all different kinds of fruit, and it's just really gives you a great background. Then you get this amazing, this really has 4 pieces. It's got 3 layers and a mask, and that's a Slimline size pineapple. And then you get my favorite Maker Forte tweezers. These are the on the hook tweezers. I love these. You'll see me use those later in the video. If you're a regular subscriber, you get a package of 10 very pretty textured envelopes. And a regular subscriber is someone who subscribes for like 3 months at a time or 6 months at a time or a year. You always get an extra bonus item, and you also get a container of sugar sparkle glitter in one of the orange colors. So that I'll show you that in a minute because I forgot to show you that. So I'm going to make 2 cards here today. I'm going to use both of those stencil sets because I love layered stencils. Like when you get a set of stencils that layer together, it gives your stenciled image so much more dimension and interest. So I love using them. And you can use these with all your other techniques. You don't just have to use it with like I'm just stenciling with it today, but there's a ton of techniques. I have a ton of videos on stenciling techniques. You can use any one of those stenciling techniques with the stamp set, and you don't have to use all of the layers. You could just take that spotlight pineapple and do something with just that. So that's the sugar sparkle glitter that comes in the kit. So this kit is loaded. It's absolutely loaded. It's amazing. And you get some coupon codes on the Facebook group for the subscription box members. So that's pretty fun. So I pulled out a tool I just splurged on recently from Maker Forte. I enjoyed I had played around with the A2 perfect placement tool for stencils, and works great with jelly plates and things like that too. So this is a really nice tool for doing some mixed media projects because it helps you align things. So I decided to get the Slimline perfect placement tool, and I've been making a lot of Slimline cards, and I've been buying a lot of Slimline stencils. Maker Forte has a ton of Slimline stencils, and in last month's Hedgehog Hollow box, we got the Slimline guitar spotlight stencil. So this is a spotlight stencil. This is what I'm considering stencil number 1, and it's the full pineapple. You also get the mask piece, which is that piece that they cut out of there, and you can, stencil the pineapple and then put the mask over it and create a background around it, and that way you won't ruin the pineapple you just created. So those masks are very handy to have. Or you can just put the mask down, create a background around it, and when you remove the mask, you have a pineapple shaped spotlight area. So there's lots and lots of things you can do with these. Very cool that they're doing spotlight stencils. So this placement tool actually allows me to, you can see the lines there. It allowed me to line up my paper, and I put a little temporary adhesive under it, and then I lined up my stencil. And if my stencil moves, I can actually just line it back up with the line that I have it on. So it's really nice to use. So that's fossilized amber that I'm using there. And I've got my magnet held down with some magnets because I have a magnet mat underneath my Ranger mat. And I'm going to pull out some greens because I realized I definitely want to use some different colored greens. So this is crushed olive, and it for some reason on the video it doesn't look any different than the fossilized amber, but in person there's quite a bit of difference. You can see that this is green and the base of the pineapple is yellow. So that was the first layer. And how fun is that? You could leave it just like that. Like, you know, it looks fun, and except when you get a layered stencil. Now I put the second layer down, and I just put the leaves as a second layer. I don't think it matters what order you go in here. And I pulled out Mowed Lawn because it's one of my go-to colors lately. I don't know why. That yellowy green color just makes me happy. And I love how it looks outlined by the first color that I did. So the next piece is the detail of the pineapple base. And I'm going to use Rusty Hinge. And I kind of wish I'd pulled out one of my small blending brushes or a finger dauber blender to put this on, because I just used the regular foam. And I got a little bit more Rusty Hinge on there than I would like. I was trying to just get the little corners of those little diamonds, but I got a little more than I wanted. So I pulled out some Wild Honey, and I like this color. It's a pretty warm color, and I just went over the whole thing, and that kind of blended everything together and preserved the darker spots I was trying to get around the edges. So I really liked the way that came out. And that is it. Now I just have to put my card together, put a sentiment on, and put my card together. So that's pretty fun. So I'm actually going to trim down that piece that I just created to 3.5 by, is that correct? Yes, 3.5 by 8. And just showing you here that I'm using some stamp cleaner and just wiping off the ink on the stencils and the perfect placement tool. I like the stencils that Maker Forte is coming out with because they're made of a nice sturdy material. They actually make them there themselves, and I feel like they're really good quality stencils. I also love that most of the stencils that I've gotten from them have come in a really nice Ziploc plastic bag. I probably shouldn't say, I should say zip closed. I don't know what brand they are, but it's like I don't have to get special storage bags because they come in nice sturdy storage bags to start with. So I don't have to go out and get something to store these in. What they send them in is actually working really well. So I love that about it. Like, it's pretty fun. So you can see easy cleanup here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this stuff away and move my perfect placement tool. And then I'm going to put my card together. Now I pulled out the sentiments. I love sentiment builder sets. You can see there's quite a variety of stuff here. You can see there's a thank you, a thanks, and then there's all kinds of sentiments you can put under there. So for this one, I'm going to pick one that says, I forgot what it says. Every day is a fresh start. And I just stamped that sort of in the middle of my pineapple with the Maker Forte Color Hive Eclipse black ink. And now I'll just put my layers together, and I'm going to add some crown jewel gems at the end. I probably could have just added some of my glitter with some double-sided tape, and I could have done a couple strips of glitter along the bottom, and that would have looked really cool. Instead, I used my these are bittersweet, and I'm just going to add 3 of these crown jewels, and you can see I'm using that on the hook tool. Look how easily I pick up those tiny little gems with that tool. This tool is the Magic Wand tool. It's got the jewel picker on one end, which works beautifully. It's got a craft pick on the other end. That green, by the way, is cut at 3 3/4 by 8 1/4, and my card base was 8 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 inches. So the second card I'm making, I'm going to use the other stencil set, and I pulled out my A2 Slimline Perfect Placement tool. And this is great for these 6x6 stencils. So I decided I would start with this stencil. I don't think it matters which one you start with, because I could identify pineapple bases, bananas, and lemons, so I figured this one should be yellow. So I did yellow, and then I added a little rusty hinge just to one side of each of the pineapples. And I had to fuss around a little bit with the green, like these are the greenery bits that go on all the fruit. So I had to fuss around till I actually figured out which way that went, because I couldn't see any markings on these stencils to tell me which was the upper left corner. Usually they're marked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a label and I'm going to mark the upper left hand corner of each one. So I just kept turning it and flipping it until I got it lined up. So here I got this lined up, and I'm realizing now I've got strawberries, cherries, and watermelon slices. So I pulled out festive berries, and I used the mowed lawn again on the greens. So for this, the first stencil I used fossilized amber, the second one I used mowed lawn, and for this one I'm using festive berries. And I like this color combination. I think it's bright. So I cut that piece down to 3 3/4 by 5. My card base here is 4 1/4 by 11. I scored it at 5 1/2, and that green piece is 4 by 5 1/4. And I have one little piece of green left that I decided I don't want to stamp the sentiment directly on that card because it's kind of busy. So I thought I will use a little piece of green, and I want to add a little piece of fruit. So I pulled out the watermelon because I thought that would be a really fun one to add. And I just stamped this with the Maker Forte Color Hive Remarkable Black ink. I love this ink when I want to use my alcohol markers, because I stamp this and immediately start coloring with my alcohol markers. And I love that about this ink. You can't watercolor with it because it's a dye-based ink and it's water reactive, but it's a beautiful ink to color in with your alcohol markers, whatever brand you use. So I used G19 to start with, and I'm coloring in the skinny pieces with the darker bits, and I used G16, and as soon as I put it down I was like, not enough color variation here. I'm wishing I'd used G14 here, G19 and G14, just to get more variation in color. Then I used the G14 on the larger areas, and I just put a little down on the top and the bottom, thinking that I would highlight the centers here with the G12. But I end up with a lot of highlighted area, and I want to add a little bit more color, and the colors aren't blending as well as I like, so I pulled out G24 and did that around the edges a little bit more into the center, and then I used G20 to finish it off, and I liked that much better. I put some G14 over the top of those dark pieces, and it brightened them up a little tiny bit. And then I just took all the markers and stippled, just putting dots along the edges, and then I used the G12 to put some dots in the center to give the watermelon some texture, and I actually really liked the way that looked. Then I just, with my little Tim Holtz micro serrated scissors here, I fussy cut out that watermelon, and I'm going to pop that up on some foam pieces. I outlined it with my journaling pen. This is my 0.3 journaling pen, and I did this because I went out of the lines when I was coloring it in a couple spots, and doing that always cleans up the edges. Like, you can't even tell that I went out of the lines once you do that. That sort of cleans it up. So I'm going to use 2 sentiments here because this is a sentiment builder set. So I have thank you and you're one in a melon. I think it's really cute a cute sentiment. So I pulled out that leftover piece of this green that I had. I'm just going to mark it with my pencil where I need to trim it down. So I'm going to trim that down and stamp my sentiment. And I'm sorry I'm out of the camera view here while I'm doing this. I'm just stamping it with my Misty and my Color Hive Remarkable Black ink. And I will put links to all this stuff below. I'm not sure if this subscription box is still available. I will put a link to the subscription box. The next one is really good. Like, there's some good stuff in the next one. The next one comes with one of their sweeper tools that actually coordinates, like it matches the on the hook tweezers. I love them. So you definitely want to get next month's box, because you'll get that one tool makes the whole box worth it. But it's a very cool kit. So thank you for watching, friends. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Have a wonderful day.